I'd like to now introduce Tanya Swetta, the co-founder and CEO of id8 Media Solutions, an integrated marketing communications firm that's headquartered in Mumbai but has an office in New York as well. Their expertise ranges from working with startups and Fortune 500 companies alike. They've worked with local and global brands across sectors. You started up way back in 2001, and while the startup ecosystem has evolved and grown over the last couple of decades, what are the top 3 changes that you have observed specifically related to women's participation and role in the ecosystem?
Sure. So as you said, yes, I started way back in 2001. It was a completely different time altogether, So I think that there are various factors, right, that lead to an overall society's evolution into a thought process. So when we look at, the 2000s, at that time, where was India? What was India doing? What was the economy like? What were the kind of impetus that was being given to women entrepreneurs and startups, and also, what was the kind of awareness that India as a country had of what was going on globally as well, right? So at that time, it was just the onset of everything in terms of cable and different and Western culture coming into India, international brands entering the market. So I think that, and in that phase, what happened is that there was very low awareness. Therefore, it was still growing and it was still kind of making its way into the ecosystem. So that, of course, affects women as well. It affects everybody in that ecosystem. So coming out of college and graduating, your worldview was much narrower than when you look at a girl who graduates from a university or a college today. So I think that is one of the major factors, I think, that makes a big difference in terms of how someone who today is an entrepreneur has a lot more available to them in order for them to be able to take that knowledge and to really create the right kind of ecosystem for themselves. So I think today what is helping women startups or startups in general is the fact that there's more empowerment, there's more knowledge, there is more awareness, right? So that's, I think, definitely, one of the things that I think is a big difference between 2001 and now. Also, I think there's also been, like, when you look at people like Falguni Nair, you look at Divya Gokulnath, you look at Upasna Tikku, these are all women who have kind of paved the way, right? They've paved the way for young entrepreneurs. They've given them that confidence and to be able to believe in the fact that they can create these startups which can even become unicorns, as you said. Right in your opening speech, So I think that's another factor that's a big difference between now and then. And I think inherently one of the biggest things that I've seen in terms of change is perceptual change, right? Like when I started out, maybe for the first 7 or 8 years into what I did, and walking into boardrooms which were totally male-dominated boardrooms where the whole perception of how they would perceive you was more on how you looked rather than what you really brought to the table, right? So really having to fight that entire thought process almost on a subliminal level. It's not like you were getting into a physical verbal fight, but it was literally like a perceptual fight that you were having, sitting at that boardroom and trying to prove your own mettle in a male-dominated arena. Not that I'm not saying that it's not there even today, but I feel that has also drastically reduced. There's also a lot more representation of females in the boardroom, so that is also making a big difference. Plus, I feel like, because, as I mentioned, all these women and many more, I mean, these are just some women who I've mentioned. I think every woman here is an amazing example of being a fabulous entrepreneur, right? I think just these small steps have really helped women with startups today. So I think all in all, these 3 factors would play a very large role in what is the difference between how it was 15-20 years ago to how it is today.